Chapter 2. Their family set out to build the biggest boat they could imagine the very next morning. There was no time to waste, his father said. They weren't entirely sure how big the boat needed to be, or what they would even take with them, so they just started building. While their father chopped down several large trees at the edge of the beach, the little boy began to scavenge for the supplies he was sure they'd need. He climbed trees for as far as the eye could see and cut down as many coconuts as he could find. There was a pleasing thunk as each coconut hit the ground far below. Once he'd cut down hundreds of them, he began to pile them up next to the large planks of wood his father had made from the trees and spread out on the beach. Meanwhile, the little girl and her mother began to talk about what sorts of animals they might be able to take with them on the boat as it set out across the ocean. The little girl pleaded with her mother to bring as many of the animals as they possibly could. The sheep for their wool, of course, the goats for their milk, the dogs for companionship. But the little girl wanted even more of the animals to join them. She wanted the bison to come with them. Their sharp horns could be used to crack open the coconuts, the little girl argued. She wanted 2 of the great white owls that always circled above to join them. They would be perfect lookouts for their long journey across the sea. In the end, her mother gave in. She talked to their father, who sighed but vowed to chop down even more trees and build the largest boat they could possibly manage. "What will we use to seal the hull of the boat?" asked the little boy. "We will use the lemon sap from the gum trees on the island, with strong ropes," their father said. It would turn the ship blue, but he felt sure it would hold together against the strong currents. The little boy and their father dragged the bow of the boat into the water once they'd fastened the hull together. They dipped the bow into the water and watched. The seal of the boat held against the strong waves from the ocean. Their father was happy, and he'd been right. The salt water combined with the gum and sap and quickly turned it blue. Their father built a platform on the beach and built the stern of the ship on it. He angled it down toward the sea as he connected it to the bow. He placed logs under it on the beach. "What are the logs for?" asked the little girl. "They will help the boat roll into the ocean once we are finished," their father said. "One push while we are all aboard and we will soon be sailing across the seas." While all of this was underway, their mother patiently took every last scrap of wool she'd gathered from the sheep over the years. She knitted several huge billowing sails for the ship. There was just one last thing to build, their father said. They needed a much smaller boat, which could only seat their family, so they could go to and from the islands they would visit. The smaller boat, which was also blue, could ride alongside the large ship they'd built. They lashed it to the hull with strong ropes once it was finished. The animals and the plants and the stores of food could stay on their large ship. The smaller blue boat was fast and mobile. They could use it to fish or escape in an emergency. The little boy and girl, and their mother and father, worked like this for many days. As they built the ship, animals of all sizes and shapes began to gather in the trees to watch them. It broke the little boy's heart to know that they would need to leave so many of the animals behind on the island. But they had no choice. There was only so much room on the big boat. In the end, the little boy and little girl pleaded with their parents to bring as many of the animals with them as they could manage. After much discussion, they agreed. Finally, they were ready. They let dozens of different types of animals come aboard. Monkeys, zebras, bison, and other large creatures. But small ones too, like frogs and hedgehogs. The little girl happily led all of the animals to different parts of the large ship. Strangely, they were all quiet and allowed the little girl to lead them. While she gathered the animals to the various parts of the big ship, the little boy piled the hundreds of coconuts in the ship's hold. He placed large bags of food around them. The last things aboard were large wooden casks of water. There was enough water to last them for a few weeks. After that, they would need to rely on the goats and coconuts for milk. The sun was high above in the noonday sky when they'd finished loading everything. The little boy helped his father push the ship onto the logs. The ship rolled quickly into the sea. Their mother unfurled the sails. The wind caught hold, and a fierce gust pulled the ship away from their beautiful island home. They were sailing through the waves and out to sea within minutes. Their grand adventure to a new home somewhere far to the north was underway.